Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Sip and Simmer with me, Anita Manager. Before we start, I want to give a special shout out to 4-year-old Michael in Alabama who gets to stay up a little bit past his bedtime and watch my show before they read Rainbow Fish. And that was the inspiration for my makeup tonight, so I hope you like my makeup tonight, Michael. Okay, so like I say every episode, this is all about spreading positivity and light and happiness, and we're here to just have a good time, have a drink, and a dessert. Tonight I want to start with my shout out to all the medical professionals out there, everybody from doctors to medical billers to nurses and receptionists and everybody that's out there doing what they can to help everybody. Also, I want to give a shout out to Troop 429, my home bar in Norwalk, Connecticut, for keeping the party going. If you go to their Facebook page and go to their cover photo, you can see a list of playlists that they have compiled to keep the party going at home. And starting on Sunday, tomorrow, we are doing a viewing party with all of our home queens. And our first movie is going to be To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. So tomorrow at 9 p.m. after my show, you can jump on and join the viewing party with me and all my friends at Troop 429. My Venmo is Anita_Manager, and that is important because that money is going towards all of the baked goods and all of the drinks and everything that I'm showing you guys how to make. But from my episode the other day when I talked about Mystic Market, all of the tips that I made are being donated on that day to go to the meals that they're providing for people who don't have the ability to get to the grocery store. They are doing $12 meals and they are being donated to people who can't get out and get food for themselves, or it's too dangerous for them to leave their houses. If you go to my Facebook page after the show, I'll put a link where you can click and buy a $12 meal to go to somebody who doesn't have the ability to get it themselves. Okay, so now for the fun part. Let's start making that drink. I've got all my fixins here, and this beautiful cup full of ice prepared. We are going to be making a Mai Tai. For me, I think of Mai Tais, I think of being back in Hawaii. I got to go there a few times and I loved it. And my favorite queen on season 12, Britta Filter, is from Hawaii. So this is my little dedication to her. So, to begin, I'm going to pour in, this is the simple syrup that I made. So I gave you the guys the recipe for my simple syrup the other day. It's just equal parts sugar and water, and you boil that until it's clear, and then you let it cool. For a Mai Tai, typically you use orgeat, but I couldn't find any, and also if I don't have it in my kitchen, you definitely don't have it in yours. So my little trick is I use a tablespoon of simple syrup, and then I use an actual drop of almond extract. And that's all you need to do, and it's gonna taste fine. So I'm gonna pour that into the glass first. From there, I have a tablespoon of grenadine. Next, I have 2 tablespoons of dark rum. I have 2 tablespoons of light rum. Thank you. I have 2 tablespoons of triple sec, and I have 1 tablespoon of lime juice. So we're gonna pour all that together. Before I give it a stir, I'll show you guys how pretty all the colors are. It goes all the way from orange, red to orange, and that is a beautiful looking drink. We're gonna give that a stir. Beautiful. And then through the TV magic, I've got my handy dandy reusable metal straw because we love our environment. Okay, it's a little strong, but it's delicious because it's absolutely nothing but liquor. But it is so good. Okay, so. Hi Mom, I am happy that you logged in. I don't know if you heard earlier, I just gave a shout out to all the medical professionals, and that includes you. Thank you for everything that you do.
Yay, Mom!
So to start the flan for today, I am going to get a non-stick pan. This is really important to use a non-stick pan because we're literally just putting sugar in the pan and that's it. Sugar, because it comes from the cane plant, it still retains a little bit of moisture. So when you heat it, it's going to start to sweat and then it's going to break down. And then we're just going to pour that directly into the pan and that's what creates that gooey mess on top. So I'm going to turn on the back burner and I'm going to pour the sugar directly into my pan and that's it. I'm just going to let it sit. I'm not going to do anything else to the sugar until it starts to sweat, and then I'm just going to give it a stir. But while that is starting, I am going to continue making the rest of the flan. Okay. Hi, Aunt Virginia. Thanks for coming in. Okay, so to start, I'm going to take a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, and I'm going to use my rubber spatula to get all of it out. And I'm going to pour that directly into my bowl. This is probably the easiest recipe that I've done, and personally, I've never made a flan before this morning. A flan, excuse me, before this morning. And I always just thought that they were super intimidating because they look like there's a whole bunch to it. But as you can see, my counter is pretty much empty. It's the 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, 3 eggs, and a tablespoon of vanilla extract. And what we're gonna do with that is we're just gonna stir it up. You can use a hand mixer for this, but you really don't have to. And as you guys have seen throughout the other episodes of my show, I love using all of my little gadgets, but this one is super, super simple. So this, we're just gonna get it nice and mixed. It's hard to really get the sweet condensed milk mixed in at first, but once you get it going, it is much easier to mix in. You know what's really funny is I actually just found out from somebody watching my show that OnlyFans isn't just adult entertainment. I will not be doing that, but feel free to hit me up on Venmo, and that's Anita_Manager, and we can pretend it's like an OnlyFans. How's that? All right, so now that I've got that mixed, I'm gonna bring my attention back over to the pan that has my sugar going. And it is slowly but surely starting to sweat, which is what you want, because the liquid that the sugar starts to sweat is what's gonna create that caramel that's on top of the flan. Since this is such an easy recipe tonight, does anybody have any questions out there about my show, about my life? Anything going on in your life that you want me to share with everybody else? I'm just gonna take a sip here. So with the sugar, you wanna make sure that the heat is on really high because it's almost going to be burning it. So the only real difference between the top of a flan and a caramel is heavy cream. Once the sugar starts to break down and starts to caramelize is when you would pour in the heavy cream, and that's what creates a caramel. We are just skipping that part because the flan itself is very creamy, so you don't want to have too creamy parts of your dessert because then it's going to be too heavy. So the sugar is taking a little bit longer, but it is starting. Once it starts, you're really going to see it go, and you want to really pay attention to it because you don't want it to burn. The sugar, once it starts to break down, should be almost like a burnt sienna color. If it starts to turn darker brown or black, you really want to start over because it's just going to give the whole dessert a burnt flavor. So I started cooking when I was young, watching my grandmother in the kitchen and helping her bake with bread and just all like dinners and everything. I got to spend a lot of time with her. I was really lucky growing up. Not so lucky that my parents had to work all the time, but it was nice to be able to compensate my parents working with spending time with my grandmother. We got really close. So my sugar is just starting to sweat, so it's just around the corner now for it to start turning into that nice brown sauce. And this is going, I am going to show you my pan. So you do not want to prepare the pan for this. You want to make sure that the pan that you're using is dry and clean and there's absolutely nothing in it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put it into a water bath, just like you would do a custard or a souffle, and that just maintains the level of heat that is being penetrated into the dessert. You can flavor your flan with a bunch of different flavors aside from vanilla. The most popular is coconut. I have had it before with actual coconut flakes in it, like toasted coconut flakes. I am a purist, I guess. I really just love the custardy texture and flavor of a normal or standard flan. Now, like I said earlier, I've never made this before, so I'm really nervous to turn mine over. So if you've seen a flan before, when you get the dessert itself, it's pretty much, it looks like a custard or a pudding, and it's got that gooey caramel that's dripping over the top. Now that's what we're preparing over here in this pan, and that is going to be poured into our unprepared pan to begin with, and then we're going to let it cool a little bit and pour the custard on top. And as it bakes, it's going to keep that caramel really melted, so that way when you do turn it over, even though it has been cooled, it's going to all ooze and drip all over. Okay, so I have my sugar really starting to get to the right color here. It's almost there. I've got a few dry spots still, so I'm just gonna let it continue to cook. And when I was talking about my grandmother, I was talking about my mother's mom. She was off the boat Italian, and she made the best food. And she made it with whatever she had, and it was always the best food, like period. It was always just delicious. And she always made super simple things or super intricate things, but either way, it was always amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what this looks like now. This is about halfway done. It's kind of hard to see because my pan is also orange. I didn't think about that one. But it is starting to get nice and gooey. So I'm gonna start to smash down all of the harder bits that started to stick together. And once I get a nice clear orange color, I'm gonna pour that directly into my pan. All right, this is going. When I think about flan, I think about like Caribbean islands or Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a Caribbean island, but I was actually doing a little bit of research today, and it's also a very Spanish dish, like Spaniard dish, which is super interesting to me that it is also European Spanish as opposed to just being a Latin dessert. Okay, so this is just about done. And when I pour it into the dish, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour it from a little bit higher up so you can see the color that you want. Like I said, you want it to be like a burnt sienna color. You do not want it like a dark brown because it's still gonna continue to cook when you put it in the oven. So, that is good. You wanna make sure it's really smooth. I am not going to waste any more time trying to do this because it should break down in the oven. But you won't see that one, so it doesn't really matter, does it? All right, so this is the color that you want. It's a nice orange, and you're just gonna pour that directly into your pan. Perfect. And then you're gonna spread that a little bit, so that way you get a nice even layer of caramel on top. And also what that's gonna do is that's gonna protect your flan from sticking to the pan. Because like I said, it's gonna continue to cook while it's in the oven. And it's gonna break down a little bit more. Okay. I'm gonna take my custard mixture. So this is the sweetened condensed milk, eggs, and vanilla. Excuse me. Hi Kaylee, thanks for checking in. I'm happy to see you're staying up late to watch the show. Kaylee actually made my recipe for anisette cookies the other day and posted them on my wall. So if you want to see how she did, you can just go on over to my Facebook and take a look at her anisette cookies. Okay, so now that that's poured in, it's going to be a little liquidy, so it's gonna balance itself out. You don't have to tap it or anything. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take hot water, piping hot water, and you're gonna pour that around the flan. And you wanna make sure you don't get it into the flan because it will dilute it and you'll get spots that aren't fully cooked. Perfect. So now that that is all done, you're gonna put this directly into your oven at 350 for a full hour. And that sounds like a long time, but you really want it to be set and completely done. This is my prepared one that I got directly from the oven. Okay, so what you're gonna do is when it's done baking is you're gonna let it cool completely. You want it almost cold. You don't wanna put it in the refrigerator, but you want it at room temperature. And what you're gonna do is take a butter knife and you're gonna go all the way around the edges and you're just going to make sure it's nice and loose. Now I watched quite a few videos on this. This is my first time ever making one. So everybody cross your fingers because I will be so upset if it doesn't fall out of this pan. Okay, so from here, we're going to take our dish and we're gonna place it right over the top and we're gonna flip it over. So now we're gonna do this together. Let's really say a prayer for this flan, all right? I'm gonna give it a little tap because I'm kind of nervous. And it's not coming out. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick the knife in again and I'm just gonna kind of scoop it out a little bit. I mean, the caramel is in there, that's for sure. All right, there we go. It's starting to come. Well, half of it did. Well, isn't this sad? And that's what happens on live TV, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I'm just gonna keep on going in there and I'm gonna get all of it out just so we can see the really destroyed final product. I'm sure it's gonna taste great. Okay, not a good beginning to International Week, is it? All right, so I've got both halves of my flan out. And if you look here, I think that I might have overcooked my caramel a little bit, but it came out and it smells great. So that's my flan. So everybody make sure that you like. Hi Jasmine, thank you for joining us. You're a little late to the party, we're just about to finish up. My hands are washed, my dessert is finished, and everybody come back and join me tomorrow. I will be continuing International Week, and I will be making something from another part of the globe. Thanks everybody for joining me tonight. Enjoy your flan, enjoy your Mai Tai, and everybody vote for Britta because she's the best on season 12. Love you guys.